Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. This is a video on Kurukshetra monthly compilation and I'll be discussing Kurukshetra for the month of December 2021. So whatever the most important article, the features article that were reported, we'll discuss in this compilation. So talking about the Kurukshetra journal for this particular month, that is December, the entire journal focuses upon innovation, skilling and livelihood. Right? Kurukshetra is something which is important for mains as well as prelims. Precisely, this is more important for the mains and essay. So where this particular edition, that is innovation, skill and livelihood, is going to help you. So first, it is going to be important in general studies paper 2, where government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementation is concerned. It is important in this paper. Again, in the same paper, it is important for under topic welfare schemes for the vulnerable section of the population by the center and the state. Apart from General Studies Paper 2, this is going to be important in General Studies Paper 3, Indian economy and issues related to planning, mobilizations, resources, growth, and development. Right? As I've told you, this would be precisely important for mains as well as for the essay paper. So make sure whatever important point is there, you will note that. And we'll discuss some of the most important feature article that was reported. Those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do not forget to press a like button. So the first news, or you can say the first article, that is skilling for future, reapping demographic dividend for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Right? This is something which is very important. जनरल स्टडीज के पेपर 3 में अक्सर आपसे सवाल पूछे जाएंगे जहाँ पे डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड से रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस होंगे. सो हाउ यू कैन हैंडल दैट, विल अंडरस्टैंड व्हाई दिस article. So India is trying to be the 5 trillion economy. It was already the target that was set before COVID, but because of the COVID, the economy pace has deteriorated to some extent because of the negative growth that we have seen across many sectors, right? But to chase this target, the best part with India is that India has a youth power, right? जो youth power है इंडिया में वो काफी अधिक है. By youth power, I mean that India is in a transition of demographic dividend, right? तो जो हमारी demographic dividend की fees है वो काफी अच्छी है. And even nearly 2/3 of its population, that is India population, it is at working age group, right? And this is how immensely India can be benefited from the demographic dividend, which can provide youth empowerment at the right scale, right? So what government need to do? We need to harness this youth potential. We need to empower them and skill them in the right direction so that the potentiality of the demographic dividend is ultimately helping in the economy and to help them chase the target of $5 trillion economy. Now, to ensure that we are potentially utilizing the demographic dividend, government has launched Skill India Mission. So SIM भी कहते हैं, very important mission for the government of India. And in regard to that, recently government has also launched national education policy where several innovations and bold reform to concrete the steps in this direction was taken, right? So these two steps by the government, which is a longer term policy, would invariably would be helping government to ensure कि जो हमारी demographic dividend है वो proper तरीके से harness हो रही है. Now, transition, as I've told in the beginning, we are at the phase of demographic transition. At present, India has a unique phase of demographic transition, जहाँ पे जो working population है वो larger है compared to their dependent, right? ऐसे लोग जो dependent है, when you can say the old age people, not exactly the old age, मतलब 45 plus या 50 के आसपास के जो लोग हैं उनकी population कम है compared to the working age population, which would be somewhere close to 21. आप 23 भी ले सकते हैं. This is 23 to 40. Right? And 55.8% of India's population is a working age population. If you want a percentage, which you can quote in mains paper, तो आप यहाँ पे 55.8% data exactly ले सकते. And the working age group that is there between 20 to 59, which would peak and 58%, जो peak आनी है इसमें इस populations में जो working age की population, that would peak up in 2041, that would be around 58.9%. अभी present में क्या है 55.8%. जो working age population है, जो age group है, that is 20 to 59, and it would peak up in 2041 by 58.9%, right? So this is important, you can note it down. Now, India working age population is projected to grow roughly by 9.7 million per year, right? This is for the anticipation ये जो की गई है during this decade, that is 2021 and 31, और उसके आगे ये बढ़ करके 4.2 million per year तक होगी by 2031 by 2041. So this is again basic data that would be essentially required for you. That would be you can use this data as in mains or essay paper. Now, approach towards vocational education. See, vocational education is something which is not new to India. It already started before independence, also. How we'll see that. But in terms of vocational education, it is often looked upon as treated as those who support they actually do not have get the formal educations, तो उनको एक second line of opportunities provide करने के लिए एक alternative एक parallel education के साथ employment मिले, उसके लिए कोशिश की गई थी इंडिया में वोकेशनल एजुकेशन को स्टैब्लिश करने के लिए. बट आफ्टर ऑल द सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी दैट वाज एस्टैब्लिश्ड इन इंडिया, जो सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी स्टैब्लिश की गई है, उसमें वोकेशनल कोर्सेज पे भी बहुत ज़्यादा प्रमोशन की गई. इवन जो आर्टिफिशियल डिस्टिंक्शंस थी दैट वर चैलेंज ड्यूरिंग द नेशनल इंडिपेंडेंस मूवमेंट, एंड सम ऑफ दिस फिलोसफी कैन बी इनकलकेटेड. और अब इसको एक बैकग्राउंड में अगर देखना चाहें तो नई तालीम फिलोसफी एंड वर्धा मॉडल ऑफ development was propounded by Gandhiji. So these two initiatives were more towards the vocational education, and their focuses in the way that formal education and even the vocational education can play a very crucial role in terms of giving employment and nurturing the youth of this country, right? Now, recent initiatives की अगर बात करें, Skill India mission is something which is again very important mission. This actually started in 2015, and the main rationale was that to create a scale up and skill development efforts जहाँ पे एक focused group को तैयार किया जाए. So almost 40 crore population of India were skilled by 2022. This is what the anticipation is. We are in the year of 2022. तो expected है कि इस समय तक इतनी populations को train की जाएगी, right? And where they would be trained, and the focus of this initiative is that outcome focused implementations which align with the demand of employer and the trained skill workforce. See, what has happened that the IT sector has boomed in country, right? Even if you talk about the manufacturing sector, this is also booming. So these two sectors require people who are actually skilled. The basic skill that is essentially required for this sector would have to be done. So this particular requirement can be fulfilled to the people or the industry by Skill India mission, right? जहाँ पे जो सस्टेनेबल लाइवलीहुड है वो एक इंडिविजुअल के लिए भी हो और उस इंडस्ट्रीज के लिए भी हो जो उसकी पोटेंशियल को यूज कर पाएंगे. Now, the mission has taken a systematic approach towards skill development, और ये responsible है for the conversion of skill development, जहाँ पे both center और states अपनी जो activeness role है या फिर proactive role है वो करेगी ताकि industries के need को, even इंडस्ट्री की नीड भी पूरी की जा सके, और जो यूथ के एस्पिरेशंस हैं टू वर्क फॉर द इंडस्ट्रीज एंड टू बी द पार्ट ऑफ मेन वर्कफोर्स कैन बी देयर. Now, another most important and crucial step by the government was National Education Policy 2021, which recognizes that one of the primary reasons for the small number of students receiving the vocational education was fact that vocational education in the past has largely focuses upon grade 11 and grade 12, right? स्पेशली जो ड्रॉप आउट्स हैं क्लास 8 के बाद या 9 के बाद, उन लोगों पे फोकस की गई. नाउ एट प्रेजेंट ये भी फोकस है खास करके जो फुल फ्लेज्ड ग्रेजुएशंस के बाद अब वीबॉक के कोर्सेज होते हैं, बैचलर इन वोकेशनल, बहुत सारे ऐसे स्ट्रीम्स में जिन पे वो कोर्सेज भी आप कर सकते हैं. एंड दीज कोर्सेज आर एक्चुअली बीइंग ऑफर्ड बाय द सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी इन इंडिया. Now, Niti Aayog is planning some prominent program, and there are two front where they're actually looking forward. First was the mainstreaming of vocational education, and second is scaling student in the industry with 4.0 to groom them with the future job creator rather than a job seeker, right? So they can create, यहाँ पे इंटरप्रेन्योरियल शिप्स को भी प्रमोट करने की कोशिश की गई है ताकि एक वेंचर्स खोलने के बाद जो और लोगों की एंगेजमेंट है वो ज़्यादा एनलार्ज हो सके एंड द मास पीपल कैन डू देयर जॉब. So this is how the government is promoting, and for entrepreneurship there are a lot more incentive that is also being provided from the government end. Now, the other topic of this Kurukshetra, that is skill requirement for sustainable livelihood in the rural farm based cooperative. तो इस एडिटोरियल में समझेंगे, इस आर्टिकल में समझेंगे किस तरह से जो कोऑपरेटिव है दिस इज गोइंग टू हेल्प. So cooperative are self-supporting community associations, right? This is working in close coordination with number of peoples, and they are accepted as an essential instrument of social and economic policy, जो कि inherent advantage देती है problem को solve करने में, and even to elevate the poverty, food security ensure करने में, और employment generations में, right? The cooperative has a multi-dimensional role, specifically in the three important aspects. अगर आप एक triangle बना करके इसको समझना चाहें, the first would be poverty elevation, the other would be food security, and third is the employment generation, right? So this is how it is actually working, and they have immense potential to deliver goods and services anywhere in India, चाहे वो किसी पार्ट्स के इंडिया के किसी भी इंटीरियर हो या फिर पार्ट्स हो, प्राइवेट सेक्टर्स हो, दैट हैज़ नॉट सक्सेसफुली बीन इफेक्टिव, राइट? सो वी नीड टू इंश्योर दैट ये जो कॉपरेटिव्स हैं इसकी पोटेंशियल तभी आएगी व्हेन देयर इज अ प्रॉपर लेजिस्लेशन एंड द पीपल वर्किंग विद इट is also getting the adequate benefit, right? So these are the potential of the cooperative. Now we'll understand how the it actually started. जो cooperative की अगर बात करें, Indian cooperative movement that actually started. So India cooperative movement started when there was a serious impact on the industrial revolutions on the village industry, right? So this is something which we can track back between 19th century. उस टाइम पे एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन करना, एग्रीकल्चर के साथ एम्प्लॉयमेंट को बरकरार रखने की कोशिश की गई, एंड इन द प्री इंडिपेंडेंस इंडिया द मूवमेंट वाज सक्सेसफुल एंड फर्स्ट एवर कोऑपरेटिव क्रेडिट सोसाइटी एक्ट वाज पास्ड इन 904. दिस इज अगेन समथिंग इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द प्रीलिम्स एज वेल. इसकी लीगल स्टेटस की अगर बात करें, कोऑपरेटिव गेव अ क्विक मोमेंटम टू कोऑपरेटिव मूवमेंट, और जो अवेलेबल थे स्किल्ड कॉपरेटर्स, उन्होंने अपने टेक्निकल क्वालिफिकेशंस को या फिर जो एक्सपर्टीज पर्सन थे, दैट हैज यूज देम, एंड इवन टू सम एक्सटेंट दैट हैज बिकम अ चैलेंज आल्सो, राइट? सो the sector was not adequately getting the workforce which is skilled, so that was a problem, that was a bottleneck that has existed for a longer period of time. Now स्किलिंग के क्या बेनिफिट है इस तरह के सेक्टर्स में, खास करके अगर इंटेंसिटी की बात करें इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ की, एंड इफ यू टॉक अबाउट द इंक्लूसिविटी ऑफ डिपेंडेंट, स्किल डेवलपमेंट एंड कैपेसिटी इंप्रूवमेंट ऑफ द यूथ कैन प्ले अ वेरी सिग्निफिकेंट रोल, राइट? So the national policy on skill development and entrepreneurship, which was actually launched in 2015, what this aim, ये एम करती है कि जो एक इस तरह का इकोसिस्टम क्रिएट किया जाए जहाँ पे एम्प्लॉयमेंट और एम्पावरमेंट की जाए लोगों की बाय स्किलिंग, and high standard of quality should be promoted, so that these are based on a culture of innovations, और जो entrepreneurship है हमारी कंट्री में वो प्रमोट हो सके, राइट? सो द मेन एम इज टू स्किल पीपल, ईदर दे कैन वर्क विद एनी इंडस्ट्रीज, और या फिर वो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में अपने स्टैब्लिशमेंट को भी सेटअप कर सकते हैं. Now, India's rural population mainly depend on agriculture and elite sector for their livelihood. This is a known fact. Most of you must be aware that जो अभी भी employment है वो agriculture में सबसे ज़्यादा है. Most people in the rural area, the only way of their option is to get either employment or they have their dependent on their agriculture. Now types of cooperative और उनके रूल की बात करें, the first is primary agriculture credit society. दिस इज अ कम्युनिटी लेवल कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटी जहाँ पे जो PACS है, प्राइमरी एग्रीकल्चर क्रेडिट सोसाइटी, उनको प्रमोट की जाती है, एंड ऑल फार्मर्स मेंबर आर ड्रिवन फ्रॉम दिस कोऑपरेटिव इंस्टीट्यूशंस. व्हाट इज द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ PACS is to overcome farm from the clutches of money lender and middlemen, right? There are a lot of problems that exist in the region of Punjab, Haryana and other parts of West Bengal also, जहाँ पे middleman की जो problem है वो काफ़ी अधिक है. People are actually not aware how to sell out their product and make profit out of it, right? So in that case, they end up in the trap of middlemen, which actually lend to जो profits हैं उसमें उनको sharing करनी पड़ती है middleman के साथ. The non-credit cooperative, particularly the fisheries, dairies, processing, farming, services, livestock, multi-purpose cooperative, it can also consider as a rural farm-based cooperatives. Now, in terms of cooperative, there are 6 integrated capital business that can grow. तो मैं आपके साथ कुछ 6 important ऐसे capital की बात करूँगा, which would be again important for the mains. If you're writing, you need to write this also. So the first is human capital, where skilling, knowledge, ability would help to pursue the livelihood strategy. ये first capital होगी in terms of promoting the cooperatives. दूसरी है social capital, where social resources like network, membership of the group, relationship with the trust, and pursuit of the livelihood is withdrawn. फिर है physical capital, where basic infrastructure like productions of equipment enable people to follow their livelihood. और तीन ऐसे कौन से कैपिटल हैं? The other being the natural capital, जहाँ पे land, water bodies, biodiversity, environmental resources are managed to derive the livelihood. Then financial capital, where saving, supply, and credit are brought into the livelihood option. And the last being the information capital, where accessibility and affordability of informations with the market intelligence empower the people to take appropriate and timely bound business decisions, right? So this capital is actually helping people to derive their livelihood option and earn something for their family. Now, the other topic, that is vibrant MSME towards inclusive growth. MSME, the micro, small, and medium enterprises, has a very significant role to play in our economy. So the micro, small, and medium enterprises are widely recognized as an important contributor towards sustainable development. किन किन सेक्टर्स में खास करके इनकी कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशंस है या कहाँ इनकी पोटेंशियल है? द फर्स्ट फॉर द इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ ऑफ द कंट्री, सेकंड इज क्रिएशन ऑफ द डिसेंट जॉब, provisions of public goods and services, and last but not least, that is poverty alleviations and reduce inequality. Now, the MSME has largely been to from small to the large scale, but इनके जो units हैं, जो इनकी contributions है, that has always been inclusive in terms of the development in the country, right? And government has also focuses for this, जहाँ पे credit flow की बात की गई, the MSME were टेक्नोलॉजिकली अपग्रेडेड, जहाँ पे डिजिटलाइजेशन पे फोकस की गई ताकि एमएसएमई अपने जो competitiveness है in terms of the global world can also compete them, and it can play a bigger role in the campaign of Make in India, which government has started to ensure that की सारी productions है, we should be self-reliant in terms of any productions. Now, if we talk about the contribution of MSME, this is again significant, right? So 6.11% of manufacturing GDP इनकी contribution है. This data is again very important for your mains examination. आप इसको जरूर note कर लें. 4.63% of GDP from service activities, and overall manufacturing की बात करें तो 33.4% MSME की contributions है. Now, this is also able to provide almost 120 million contribution, और overall अगर बात करें 45% of export is from the MSME sector. So this is a huge contribution from the micro, small, and medium enterprises. Now, the sector has also maintained the consistent growth over the past 10%, right? But COVID के बाद इनकी जो performance है वो काफी हद तक deteriorate हुई है. Now, about 20% of the MSME are based out of rural areas, right? And they indicate that deployment of significant workforce in the MSME sectors. और ये काफ़ी important है rural area में establishment में, because if you want a sustainable development and inclusive development in the country, we'd also need to have a large scale employment, especially in the rural area. So this area is always being neglected in terms of the establishment of industries, but MSME to some extent has reduce this gap by establishing the factory in the rural area, and government should give more emphasis जहाँ पे large scale employment के लिए बड़ी factories rural area में भी establish की जाए. Now, the MSME sector is next to agriculture in terms of providing employment. This is a true fact, and it accounts for almost 48% of Indian export, which I have told you beginning. The strong and complex backward and forward linkages of this sector is essential to provide large state enterprises and value chain, right? So there are a lot more people, small, big, large factories which are working, and they're ultimately helping the economy, as well as at the same time they're also giving employment to a lot of workforce. Role क्या है MSME की? MSME help in inclusive growth our country by 3 important points: generating large scale employment, sustainable economic growth, and increasing export, make India inclusive, right? So if you see percentage की अगर बात करें, almost it would be not less than 30 to 35% employment that would be coming, right? And if you talk about the contribution to the GDP, ये almost 35% के आसपास contribution करती है, 35 to 38%, right? So this is a contribution that we have from the MSME sectors. Now, employment generation is one of the biggest factor here. So the micro, small, and medium enterprises, if nurtured well, it can bridge the gap and create 1 crore job in next 4 to 5 years, right? And almost the MSME has a job creator in the last 4 years. And as per the annual report 2017-18, जो कि Ministry of MSME ने release की है, they said that the sector has contributed around 3.6 crore job, which is 70% job of the manufacturing sectors. So alone, this sector has a huge potential which has actually worked in creating a lot more job for the youth and the workforce. Now some challenges with the MSME sector, they need to have a transform, जहाँ पे अगर कुछ important challenges की बात करें जो MSME sector competitiveness भी follow कर रही है and even they are lacking to some extent would be access to technology, IPR related issue जो intellectual property right के issues हैं उनको उनके जो terms conditions हैं उनके adherence में भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा problem हुई है, design related issues, wasteful and useful resources of manpower, energy inefficient and associated of high cost. We see that some in the some sector or even some state, the cost of energy is pretty high, right? और जो overall input cost है वो भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा महंगी. The low cost of market penetrations and quality assurance certificate is again a problem. Standardization of product because of the lack of technology, standardization भी maintain नहीं की गई and proper marketing channel and penetration of new market. तो government ने यहाँ पे एक नई initiative start की है which is also known as e-market, right? Most of you must be aware of this fact. E-market is an initiative, but actually the MSME sector has not been properly integrated with it. So government need to focus is कि जो MSME की प्रोडक्शंस हैं वो मार्केट लेवल पे उनकी मार्केटिंग की जाए एंड दे शुड गेट अ प्लेटफॉर्म वेयर दे कैन एक्चुअली सेल देयर प्रोडक्ट्स. Now, some initiatives taken by the government would include the access to credit. ये एक ऐसी फैसिलिटी है जहाँ पे easy access और credit दी गई. 1 लाख तक की 1 करोड़ तक की ग्रांट की जाती है, इन अप्रूवल सैंक्शंस मिलती है. There's also provision of 2% interest subvention in all GST registered MSME on the fresh incremental loan. So this is a support system in terms of finances that government is providing. Now, access to market की अगर बात करें, public sector companies have now compulsory procure 25% of their purchase from the MSME. So this is a good step, a platform that is being provided to MSME so that they can sell their products. Upgradations of technology. For better access of technology, 20 technological hubs बनाए गए हैं with 100 spokes in the forum tool where they would be working throughout the country pan India. Ease of doing business को promote किया गया है so that the number of initiative has been taken जहाँ पे business को facilitate की जाएगी, जो clearances हैं वो certifications easy way में उनको approval मिल जाएंगे. Social security for MSME sector employees, right? We know that these people are actually not being provided with all sort of gratuity and other benefits. So government ने यहाँ पे जन धन accounts and even provident fund और insurance provide की है यहाँ की employers को, even the employees that actually work for the MSME sectors. Foster innovations and entrepreneurial skill among rural youth. See, we are all in this particular edition of this video. The entire focus is upon the skilling, and the focus is also upon the employment generation for the rural youth. So we'll see how the skilling is helping in fostering innovation and skilling the rural youth. The majority of Indian population live in the rural area. This is again a fact. Or agriculture is the main source of employment for them. But agriculture एक ऐसी है जो हमेशा हर एक एज ग्रुप को सस्टेन नहीं कर सकती. Longer duration also, the income generation is not great that can sustain them for a longer time. So for that, they need to be the part of formal economy, and skill can play a very important role for them to be a part of non-farm job जहाँ पे वो formal economy के साथ काम कर सके. If education and skilling is there, this is something they can do, right? So innovation in terms of adopting a new technology, agriculture sectors में भी उनको अपनी तरफ से level में advancement करने की काफ़ी हद तक मौका मिल सकता है. As per Indian census, the total youth population has increased to around 168 million from 1971. Now it has reached up to 422 million in 2021. So this is with the latest census. Now, if you talk about the knowledge and education, these are the two important factors that have effectively play an important role in social, economic, and political development of a youth, right? So education is the most powerful tool that we can have in our society. Now, increased attention is required to improve the participation rate, जहाँ पे young populations को particularly rural और जो marginalized area से लोग आते हैं उनको मेन स्ट्रीम में लाने के लिए उनको स्किलिंग करना, उनको प्रॉपर एजुकेशन देना would be the right way out. Now, some initiative in this regard that was taken by the government. The first is the National Skill Development Policy, which was actually formulated in 2009, जहाँ पे availability जो अवेलेबल स्किल फोर्स है उनको स्किलिंग की जाएगी। सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट ने फ्रेम किया है नेशनल पॉलिसी फॉर स्किल डेवलपमेंट एंड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इन 2015 टू एक्सलरेट द पेस ऑफ स्किलिंग, राइट। यहाँ पे जो ओवरऑल स्किलिंग प्रोसेस स्टार्ट की गई थी 2019 में, उसको और पेस देने के लिए एक नई पॉलिसी फिर से आई। Now, the primary objective of this policy is to meet the challenge of skilling high skill, requisite quality and sustainability of the industry as well as the employee. Now, under the Skill India mission, government is also implementing 40 skill development schemes across 20 central ministries, जो कि variety of skill development काम कर रही हैं, and almost on this basis, almost 556.1 lakh person have been trained, and these person are actually working in the industries or the MSME sector, and they have also get a job, they're contributing to economy and they're sustaining their livelihood. उसके अलावा नेशनल रूरल लाइवलीहुड मिशन, जिसको आजीविका स्किल्स भी कहते हैं, इट इज़ द इनिशिएटिव दैट वाज लॉन्च्ड बाय द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ रूरल डेवलपमेंट। मेक श्योर आप मिनिस्ट्रीज को नोट करते चलें, समटाइम्स यूपीएससी टेंड टू आस्क द मिनिस्ट्रीज आल्सो, राइट। सो व्हाट वाज द मेन एम ऑफ दिस आजीविका मिशंस? It was aimed to understand the professional aspiration and interest of youth and increase their daily income, right? Once the youth is technologically sound, he is upgraded, he is skilled as per the industry requirement, definitely his income is going to increase, right? Now then we have Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojna. This is a unique initiative where almost 24 lakh youths were trained in the relevant field of the industries. They were skilled and prepared for the global market and the competitive market that India can face in any other countries. Now, skill acquisitions and knowledge awareness for the livelihood promotion, इसको संकल्प के नाम से भी जाना जाता है. This is an initiative where we are collaborating. The scheme is being supported by World Bank loan assistance with the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurial, जो कि फोकस करेगी 3 important aspects पे. The first is institutional strengthening at central, state and district level. First, इसकी मोटो है. Second है quality assurance of the skill development program to check that how the quality assurance is there. जो quality चेक होती है, उसकी जो क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस है वो स्किल डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम में इंप्लीमेंट की जानी है. इंक्लूजन ऑफ मार्जिनलाइज्ड पॉपुलेशन एंड स्किल डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम, राइट. सो दोज पीपल हु हैव एक्चुअली लेफ्ट आउट, उनको आइडेंटिफाई करना और उनको प्रॉपर स्किल करना विथ अ क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस दैट दे आर कंपिटिटिव इनफ टू चेज इन द मार्केट. Now, some innovation startup and skilling that is there, that is राष्ट्रीय कृषि विकास योजना. यहाँ पे रेम्यूनरेटिव अप्रोच ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर एंड एलीट सेक्टर रिजुनोवेशंस पे काम कीजिए. इसको रफ्तार के नाम से भी जाना जाता है, RKVY रफ्तार. एंड दिस वाज एक्चुअली लॉन्च इन 2017-18 बाय द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर एंड फार्म वेलफेयर, वेयर द फोकस वाज दैट एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर और जो एलीट सेक्टर है उनके प्रमोशंस पे ध्यान की जाए और जो जो एग्रीकल्चर एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप्स हैं उसको प्रमोट की जा सके. नाउ द ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ RKVY Raftar is to bring efficiency and input in terms of uses and productivity. और ये imperative है जहाँ पे हमारे crop productions और technology, खास करके ऐसे productions जहाँ पे technology driven हो, वो ultimately help करेंगे. So the main aim was to incorporate the technology innovations in overall crop productions as well as in the farming sectors. Now, DG Saksham, this is a digital skill program to enhance the employability of the youth by imparting them digital skill, which is required for increasing technological driven area, right? और ये joint initiative है by Microsoft India, is an extension of the central government with ongoing program to support the rural youth and semi-urban area. खास करके कौन कौन से एरिया से जो रूरल यूथ हैं और जो सेमी अर्बन एरियाज के लोग हैं उनको स्किलिंग के थ्रू एक सर्टिफिकेशन प्रोग्राम मिलेगी वेयर दे वुड बी अवॉर्डेड इन पर्टिकुलर फील्ड वेयर दे हैव एक्चुअली डन देयर कोर्स, राइट. सो माइक्रोसॉफ्ट इंडिया की जो कोलैबोरेशंस हैं ये आप ध्यान रखें, प्रीलिम्स के लिए भी इंपॉर्टेंट है. Now, Agni mission, this aims to the main the full form of Agni is accelerating growth for new India innovations. This is a program of Office and Principal Scientific Advisory of Government of India, where the mission aims that under the Prime Minister Scientific Technology and Innovation Council, people would be. This mission aims to train and call for more innovation in the scientific segments. So the core of Agni is to support and augment innovations taken by the multiple stakeholders, जहाँ पे इंडिया की innovations goal को achieve करना, and even to connect to the innovative owners in the new frontier solution of the market, right? So these are some of the important methods that would definitely help India to be the part of global workforce. जो हमारे competitiveness है globally, उसको compete करने में इस तरह के missions काफी helpful होंगे. Now, the other is innovation approach in the farm-based livelihood. This is again something very important in terms of providing livelihood. And the farm sector, as we discussed, agriculture sector has the largest contribution in this segment. So livelihood is defined as an adequate stock of flow, food, cash, जहाँ पे एक इंडिविजुअल की जो रिक्वायरमेंट है, जो डेली रिक्वायरमेंट है, जो बेसिक नीड्स है, वो यहाँ से पूरी हो रही है. And there are four ways where acquiring livelihood can be done. The first is with regards to the production based livelihood, where large portion of small population and marginal farmer gain their livelihood through production of small piece of land. बहुत ऐसे मार्जिनल फार्मर हैं जो अपने स्मॉल लैंड पे भी प्रोडक्शंस कर रहे हैं. दे आर हैविंग द एग्रीकल्चर प्रैक्टिसेस एंड दे आर मेकिंग सम शॉर्ट ऑफ प्रॉफिट विच इज एक्चुअली नो सफिशिएंट, नॉट एक्चुअली सफिशिएंट, बट उनकी ज़रूरतों को पूरी कर रही है. ऑल्दो गवर्नमेंट ने फार्म इनकम को डबल करने की बात कही है, बट वी कैन नॉट सी दिस इज हैपनिंग एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, राइट. नाउ लेबर बेस्ड लाइवलीहुड, द मोस्ट of the small landholders on the landless rural की अगर बात करें, they are having problem in terms of labor. For their livelihood, demand of labor, wage rate, and the price of food are critical factor, right? They cannot afford a labor, or even the price, the inflation that is there, even some of the finances that is required is not adequately met by them as well. Now the exchange market livelihood, यहाँ पे वैसे रूरल हाउसहोल्ड जो कि प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं सरप्लस फूड या फिर नॉन फूड प्रोडक्ट्स को, वो या फिर नॉन गुड्स आइटम को, दे कैन सेल इट टू द प्रोडक्ट इन द मार्केट, राइट. सो एक्सचेंज डेवलप की गई है जहाँ पे उनको एक प्लेटफॉर्म मिले अपने प्रोडक्ट को सेल करने के लिए. Now transport based entitlements, where the household without any income earning are able to get the person to work dependent on their livelihood, transfer their government or other social organizations, right. So this is a transfer based entitlement. It's like a cooperative society also, which is helping the people to get no right profit out of their produce, और उनकी जो सेल है वो सही मार्केट में हो सके, right. So government is also helping in this regard, but the middleman problem that continue to exist in many part of the country has to be seized off. उनको खत्म करने की जरूरत है. Now need for innovations approach. How? First is participatory approach, जहाँ पे involving panchayat in the decision making would be very important. उनकी diversification, restructuring and extensions of adaptive research delivery system would be important. Holistic development होनी चाहिए किन किन जगहों पे. First is productivity, marketing, post harvest, agro processing, credit, rural infrastructure पे ध्यान देने की जरूरत है. जो टेक्नोलॉजी डिसेमिनेशन है, दैट शुड बी इनकॉर्पोरेटेड विद एग्रीकल्चर्स. Natural resource management should be addressed. So these are the problem that need to be addressed adequately, and this is the need of the hour that government should be focuses upon. Technology development or disseminations, group farming system approach, participatory planning, management and monitoring, right. Apart from this, creating an enabling environment for privatization and commercialization would be important. फार्म पॉलीक्लिनिक, ताकि फार्म्स को, अगर कोई फार्मर्स को किसी भी तरह से उनके फर्टिलाइजर्स पे, इवन सॉइल्स पे प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, दे कैन एक्चुअली गेट देयर थिंग्स डन, गेट थिंग्स चेक्ड, एंड दे कुड आइडेंटिफाई व्हाट इज अ प्रॉब्लम, राइट. Marketing linkages, the forward and backward linkages need to be adequately regulated. The concept of bio village and seed village, that should be there. Collective marketing model, जैसे ई नाम अभी स्टार्ट हुई है ई प्लेटफॉर्म पे, और इस तरह के कुछ इनिशिएटिव्स भी लिए जा सकते हैं. Enhancing the knowledge through radio, किसान चैनल, डीडी किसान और इस तरह के चैनल्स भी गवर्नमेंट ने स्टार्ट किए हैं. बट द आउटरीच शुड बी देयर, राइट. पीपल शुड नो व्हाट एक्चुअली द बेनिफिट्स ऑफ दिस चैनल, ताकि वो इस तरह के जो इनपुट्स हैं, जो वैल्यूएबल इनपुट्स हैं एक्सपर्ट के, साइंटिफिक टेम्परामेंट के, वो अपने प्रोडक्शंस में या फिर एग्रीकल्चर एक्टिविटीज में लगा पाए, राइट. So this was all about the Kurukshetra compilation. We have a lot more other initiatives for you, like daily editorial, news analysis, FCA, PIB, MPR, must have just है योजना कुरुक्षेत्र की, और IAS GAZETTE की मैगजीन हर मंथली, जो कि आप हमारे वेबसाइट से भी डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं, राइट. So do check it out, all these initiatives. You will find the videos on our playlist section. You can watch that. That will definitely help you to sail through this journey of civil services. If you have any other concern, you can let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.